Okay.
Okay, there you go. Well.
Hey. Hi, Facebook. It's Sisternomics.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Okay, so what are we talking about tonight?
Colorism.
Okay, so what is colorism? Tell everybody, what is colorism? Tonza?
You're the analyst.
Oh, I'm the... Colorism it exists when dark-skinned black people feel that they are discriminated against or treated badly by lighter-skinned black people. And then reverse colorism is obviously when light-skinned people feel like they're discriminated against by other African Americans. So we want to know what your thoughts are about it. Have you experienced it? Do you think it exists?
Tell us about some of your experiences.
Or your stories. Has it happened to you?
Can you see people talking?
Do you think it exists?
Oh, okay.
So, while they're gathering their thoughts.
Right. Do y'all have any stories? Anybody?
Man, yeah. Being from northeastern North Carolina, Native American country, and the times have shifted, but when I was in school, and no offense.
Just
but no,
say it.
But no, when I was in school, the light skinned, good hair people, they were like the top of the line,
Right. Well, I think that don't you feel like that's the perception in the black community?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's so much a perception. It's the reality, and I think in a world trying to fit in amongst other races, we begin to look on ourselves and say, okay, well, let me put a caste system, or let us use a caste system to classify it within ourselves, and it's proven to be very hurtful. In darker skin women in particular, you got to worry about competing for men or whatever the case is, and you're not light enough, your hair isn't wavy enough or long enough, and I know times have changed, but that's my experience, and I'm middle of the road. First of all, I know I'm not light or dark, I'm kind of, what is it, caramel?
No, pecan tan.
Pecan tan.
Pecan tan. Do you
I don't know. I could be cinnamon though. Pecan.
Cinnamon, you had to be more red.
Pecan is okay.
You had to have more red tones.
Caramel.
Pecan tan. Y'all, Joan is
Coffee.
Pecan tan, right?
Coffee with cream.
No, coffee is darker.
Well, not when you put cream in it.
Anyway,
I'm right. I'm just
anyway. Tarza, would you like to chime in? Have you had any experiences with colorism or reverse colorism?
I guess based upon your definition, my experiences would be based upon reverse colorism, and I think that my experiences have been because there is a shift as it relates to darker skinned women taking more pride in who they are.
Right.
And in the process of taking pride in who they are as darker skinned women, I think that they have started, and I'm just doing a generalization here, there has been a general shift towards treating the lighter skinned woman in a negative way. So basically what they experienced in the past as darker skinned women, they're starting to inflict those painful experiences on lighter skinned women.
Has that happened to you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've been in situations where I definitely felt tension with darker skinned women, felt like they didn't even try to talk to me or get to know me or embrace me because they, I'm going to say, had certain assumptions about my attitude or how I was going to be because I was lighter skinned, or they just made it their purpose or their goal to shun me or make me feel like an outcast because I was lighter skinned.
I guess I've had people that just didn't like me. I mean, because I think
because you had a good braid of hair.
I don't have a good grade of hair.
Well, oh my God.
Yes, you do.
What is a good grade of hair?
A good grade of hair is
Take your hat off.
ECU.
Right. Take your hat off. I'll show you a good
a good
grade
grade of hair is a grade that you can stick a comb in and pull it through with little or no effort.
Oh, you going way back into how colorism came to be.
Well,
I would say, the closer
If Dell was listening, she'd be really upset with you all.
but still, everybody hears it, right? A good grade of hair.
Okay, yes.
And you'd have to admit that on the spectrum, right, your hair
It's different. It's
straighter.
Straighter.
Much straighter.
much more manageable.
You don't need to put a perm or relaxer in it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then it's still straight.
When I blow dry it. But if
But
I
if
wear
not, it's curly like this.
Mhm.
Right? Okay.
And see, people pay a lot of money to make their hair do one or two things that yours does naturally.
Right.
Pay a lot of money to relax it and make it straight.
Right.
Or they pay a lot of money to have it rotted so that it stays curly.
And is that as a result of colorism? Because of the experiences that they've had as women and the images that they see
Oh, I know.
that make them feel...
Y'all got me off track. What I was saying was, people don't. I've had people not like me just because I think there's a perception that if you're lighter, that you automatically think more of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've always been shy, so I was never the one to just be like, "Hey, how you doing?" And people assumed that meant that I was like stuck on myself or something. It wasn't that. It was just I'm shy, and I don't. You know, I'm not. I guess.
Well, maybe those people who were talking to you had their own inferiority issues.
Right.
And didn't know or presumed that you thought that of yourself.
Right.
Maybe they
right.
felt
And
that's
what's wrong
exactly
with that?
the opposite.
That's the whole thing. What's wrong with that? If we're saying that colorism has affected darker skinned people in such a way that they have low self-esteem, and so the goal is to change that mindset so darker skinned people can be proud of who they are, proud of their skin, proud of their hair texture, and feel good, why then is it okay for them to look at you when you walk in a room and say, oh, she thinks she's better than somebody, so we're not going to like her? That's wrong.
I mean, it
is
is
wrong.
and it's very, very hurt. I mean, it's very painful.
Right.
It was very hurtful for me. You know, growing up. You know, particularly if you're in high school. You know, like or college, and you're trying to figure out who you are and where you fit in this in life. So, and it took a long time for me to become comfortable in my skin as I am, you know, and just be happy with how I am and how I look.
You almost feel like you have to apologize for your skin tone or for your hair texture. Or, you know, you're also in situations sometimes where you're treated as not really black because of your skin color or your hair texture. You know, you're not all the way black. You can't identify with that struggle.
That is wrong. And I think on so many levels we are fighting we're fighting each other as a race.
Right.
We're finding any and everything we can to put each other down. And it would be so cool if a woman, dark skin, light skin, whatever, can say to another woman, you know what, your hair is gorgeous. And there are a lot of women who can.
Right.
But what is the harm in that?
Right.
Your hair is beautiful. And it doesn't mean that I'm taking away from myself or I'm exalting you above me, but we're so many different complexions and so many different shades and so many sizes and shapes. I just feel like we just need to cut it.
And we're all beautiful in our own blackness as we are. You know, I mean, the world, especially right now, has got so much going on. I mean, you know, with the election and the effects, the after effects of the election. I mean, black people, in my opinion, I mean, the last thing we need to be doing is pulling each other down at this point, or worrying about if one person is light or dark or whatever. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But it seems when you read about colorism, it's not something that is just isolated in America. Other countries are dealing with the same issue. South Africa has their system where they break people down based upon their skin color. I would be considered a colored in South Africa, and colored people had better treatment during the period of apartheid, and they still have issues. And there are other countries, because I was reading something that was talking about skin bleaching, and although the number of people that bleach their skin in America has been greatly reduced, it seems like in other countries there is a large industry for bleaching skin because people want their skin to be lighter because they feel like they're accepted more if their skin is lighter. So it's not just our country struggling with this epidemic, it's other countries that are dealing with it.
But I think that goes back to, you know, in America, or the standard of beauty is white.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I totally see where you're going with this, and I agree.
And so the closer, therefore, you get to white or looking like white, then the prettier you are.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think that is what has been pounded into us from birth. The closer you get to white or looking like white,
the better.
The better. You know, and so up until recently, we were taught to reject, you know, black bodies and our body type. Not thick women weren't pretty.
Oh gosh,
right?
Yes,
you know, if you were thick, you were like, oh, you need to lose weight. You know, da 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 da. And it's just been recently that there's been an acceptance of all those things that make us black people beautiful.
Well, you know, we were talking about this recently, and I think Tanza mentioned that she sometimes felt that people with natural hair kind of threw shade at her because her hair is, you're natural.
It's straight.
She's naturally
She's
straight. That's your natural.
straight.
You don't have to put chemicals in your hair.
Right.
I think I can speak personally. When I went natural, I felt liberated. I felt freed from the shackles of society that made me believe that I had a slap relaxer in my hair, in my head, once a month or however long to make it stay straight. And I was like, whose standard, Joan, are you trying to meet? And so it was a liberating thing for me, and I could embrace my curl pattern. I've gotten so many more compliments on my natural hair than I've ever gotten in my entire life. Trying to make my hair look bone straight, which my hair doesn't want to be bone straight. And I think women can embrace their natural beauty without pointing at another woman and saying, hey, you know, or making that woman feel bad. You know, I mean, that's what we got to stop as a nation. And we're talking about the election. And, you know, I wrote a blog not too long ago about we're marching for good causes, but we got some sweeping we have to do around our own doorstep.
Oh, sure.
This is one of them.
Yeah, sure.
It's one of them.
So I was talking to my cousin the other day when we had breakfast, and I was telling him this was the topic we were going to discuss tonight. And he, you know, enlightened me on colorism as it relates to men, you know, because I was just thinking about the perspective of a woman, you know, my experiences. And he was saying to me, growing up as a light-skinned guy who's not 6'4", you know, that he felt he was challenged a lot, and he was treated, guys felt they could beat him up and bully him and harass him simply because of the color of his skin. And I thought, God, that's an interesting dynamic. And I was curious if we had any male viewers, if they had experiences, because I don't think colorism is just it doesn't just apply to women. It's male and female.
Well,
and the other issue he raised, you know, when we were having this candid conversation is being honest. He felt like his fair skin opened some doors for him that darker skinned men had closed on them. He said, if we're going to be totally honest about the conversation, I feel like my light skin has been advantageous to me in the business world. And I had to take a step back because I didn't want to, you know, say, well, yeah, maybe it does help. But the reality is in our society, it does help us.
I think that white people, when they see a lighter skinned candidate,
they feel more comfortable.
Yes, they feel, because again, they're identifying with the person that looks closest to them. And so if you have a very, very dark skinned candidate and a lighter skinned candidate, I think they probably do throw to the light skinned person, especially if there's any kind of justification for it. You know,
there's a listener watching, and I went to high school with him, and he is a very dark skin, very dark skinned brother, very intelligent. Oh my goodness! But he recently put out there that he was a Trump supporter. And there was some banter amongst some of us about how could he possibly be a Trump supporter based on his complexion.
Just based
Just
on his
because.
Not solely based.
Okay.
I mean, we
Right.
tend to be taken aback whenever we see an African American Trump supporter.
Yeah, I am.
But
Not because you're dark skinned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but in
And
high
there
school,
were a lot of them. There were more of them than we thought, though.
But the question was posed, and I said, you know what? He's probably a Republican, or he's probably that way just because of comments like that.
Yeah, well.
Because when we were in high school, we rode him, and we used to see him across the room like, hey, where you at, man?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and call him names and this and that.
Sure.
And I'm sure, I totally get it if, you know, we've probably as a race has treated him much worse than any other race on the planet in terms of teasing him over his complexion or his hair texture. So
Sure.
men definitely catch it too.
All right, yeah.
And children pick up on it early on in school and their interactions with other children. I'll share this story with everyone. My youngest daughter at one point came home to me and started questioning me about what color we were. And I was like, well, we're black. And she was like, no, we're not. You know, she was like, no, we're white. And I was like, where did you get that from? Like, we are black. And, you know, I was livid. Like,
Yeah.
and she said, well, Mom, look at us. We don't look, you know, like black people, because she's actually she's lighter than I am, and her hair is a different texture. And it just took a lot for me to help her understand that black people come in all different shades, and you know, you should be proud of your blackness and who we are. It doesn't, you know, I think she was starting to feel like it's good to identify with white
people
as opposed to
Yeah.
black.
Right.
And
Well, the
that
children
really
at school
disturbed
probably made her
me.
feel that way.
Yes.
Right.
You know, if you're in her situation and someone who's darker skinned is being picked on,
Sure.
you're gonna try to slide to the good side so that you're not the object of the teasing.
But the funny thing about that is it wasn't that the dark-skinned kids were picking on her, but they were making her feel beautiful because she was different than them.
Okay.
Oh, your
Yeah.
hair is so pretty, Gabby. And I noticed when we go to school the way they embrace her and, oh, Gabby, you know, and it's because they feel like she's beautiful.
So basically, it starts in school. It starts in elementary school, or in the formative years.
yeah.
Oh, yes, but I was talking to my sister about this last night. She was watching a little while ago. But she came home as a child and asked my parents, she's much lighter than I am. She came home and asked my parents when she was in elementary or middle school, it must have been elementary school, and she said, how did y'all have me? Because my parents were both, you know, they're darker than I am. And she was like, you know, and then she was confused.
Where did I come from?
You know, and even her little boy, sometimes we'll be playing around the house and we'll say, well, what color is Auntie? He'll be like, tan. And what color is you know, Daddy? He calls him Baba. And he'll be like, brown. And what color is Mommy? Gray. You know, because she's so light. But so even, and he's 4. So he already is conscious of the color difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't see what anybody's saying, so I'm kind of relying on y'all.
Well, I've just been chatting back with them, not to interrupt the flow. You know,
Okay.
I think things are going well. Thank you all who've tuned in.
Yes.
And I'm reading your comments and we're addressing them. I guess now it's time to make sure they know that this isn't the podcast.
Okay.
Right? You
Right.
want me to do that?
Yes,
Yes.
do that, please.
Let's say that in unison. This is not the podcast.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
This is not the podcast.
Make sure episode 7 dropped yesterday.
Right. Yes.
So that's on iTunes. We haven't talked about
Stitcher.
colorism yet.
Yeah, Stitcher.
So that's not up there. Yeah. SoundCloud, Stitcher. Go to our website.
YouTube.
Go to our website.
Yep.
Yes, it's
Sistanomics.com.
That's SISTA Nomics NOMICS .com, and you can then follow the links and watch all the episodes, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
You can listen to every episode. You can leave us a message there.
Right. If you have a request or a topic you want us to cover,
Definitely
send
share
that.
it.
Yes, please send that to
Absolutely.
us.
Yes.
And when episode 8 comes out, we will be discussing colorism even more.
Yes, we're going
Right.
to really tackle this topic. We look to drop episode 8 again on Monday night. Monday night seems to be the drop night. Go ahead and subscribe on iTunes, though. You'll get a notification to your phone, on your phone, so you don't have to be watching on Facebook for when it's going to hit. And
subscribe and then leave a review.
download it.
And download
You can listen to us in the car. You can listen to us on the treadmill.
Right.
Absolutely.
Cleaning up, whatever you want to do.
Cooking,
We need
whatever
your
you want to do.
support.
But we love
We
you
need your
all.
support.
We appreciate you watching. We have so much fun doing this.
Yes.
And we do need your support. And tell everybody, spread the word.
Yes.
I think we're done. Good
Thank
night.
you. Good night.